All right, so for today's biweekly call, the topic is going to be routine. How do we make changes to our routine without it feeling overwhelming? And how do we cultivate a more self-love, more positive mindset? And these are very important topics that I love to talk about because often we know what it is that we want to do, but the obstacle that's in our way is how. How do we actually do it? How do we implement it into our life? How do we make it real? And then the second part is how do we make ourselves want to do it? Want to do it so that we can stick with these changes long enough to actually see results. So that's what we're going to go over today. So first off, when it comes to making changes in your routine and not allowing it to get too overwhelming, because when we're overwhelmed, we go into a bit of a stressed zone and our stress response is like fight or flee or freeze. And when we get too stressed out, it can be really hard to be present and making decisions because we're overwhelmed and paralyzed, and then we take no action at all. So first things first is we want to focus on the big pieces. Focus on the big foundational pieces that have the biggest impact. Sometimes we get lost in all the nitty little details and get lost in all those little things that it gets confusing and all the information out there is contradictory. And that can hold us back from taking action because we're trying to find the perfect solution where we're analyzing every little detail. And if that would have worked by now, it would have worked. So if you've been caught in that loop, time to try something different. Focus on the big foundational pieces. So to give a visual, it would be like we're in this house and we're like, it's drafty in here. There's a lot of air coming in. And so we're focusing on the windows. We're like, maybe there's a crack in the window. I'll try sealing it up. I'll try new curtains. Maybe I'll try shutters. I'll put something over the window. You're like, it's still drafty. And then we pause, zoom out, look at the bigger picture and realize our house doesn't have walls. No wonder it's drafty in here. Like, we need to focus on building a foundation and building the walls up, and that will make the biggest change. And then once we're comfy and cozy, that our walls are up and we're in our house, then you can at your leisure play around with dialing up, figuring out what's up with the window to like really make the room temperate or whatever, but focus on the things that move the needle the most. So things like most of the time eating whole foods, managing your stress levels, managing the quantities of food you're eating, not way too much, not way too little. And you may feel like you get lost in that question, like, well, how do I know? And then you're second guessing everything. Just pause, look at the big picture. Am I able to do the things that I want to do with my life? If there's excess weight on your body that's creating chronic health problems, or pain in your joints that you can't play the sports that you want to play, or digestive issues, or you're lacking energy, or your mood's all over the place. Those are all really big signals from your body that you're either eating too much or too little, or not enough of the right stuff. And you haven't existed before. So before trying to figure out what the perfect plan is ahead of time, we don't know that. You're the only you that's ever existed. So focus on the big picture. Like, before trying to dial it in and change any little thing, go, am I most of the time eating a wide variety of whole foods and not allowing myself to get way too hungry, way too hangry, nauseous, dizzy? And am I most of the time not eating to a point of uncomfortable fullness? Until you nail that down, most of the time when you zoom out and look at your life over the months and years, most of that is made up of whole foods. You're not chronically feeling overfull and uncomfortable, and you're not chronically feeling hungry and hangry or overthinking food too much. First, focus on that before figuring out, like, should I be having cruciferous vegetables or beans not good for, like, focus on that first. And then once that's dialed in, then you can play around with the other stuff. The other big walls to our house, so to speak, is, am I drinking water? Am I moving my body? And this doesn't mean 6 days a week doing intense cardio workouts, stuff you hate. Are you just moving your body? all throughout the day. Yes, exercise is great for mental health and building cardiovascular strength so you can go and do activities and have stronger bones for when you're older. But what is most important is the other 12 hours of the day that you're up. Are you moving around or are you sedentary? When we're sedentary, our body is not, it's built to move. So when we're sedentary, think of it like the life force inside of our body is like water. When water is stagnant, bacteria starts to get in there, starts to grow, things aren't filtering out, cleaning out the way they should. You want to be moving as much as you can so that it's like when water's rushing down a mountainside, like that's that clear, sparkly, life-giving stuff. So are you most of the time eating whole foods in quantities that feel good for your body? You're being mindful when you're eating. You'll start to learn what feels good for you. It'll take practice. Are you drinking your water? Are you moving your body? Are you managing your stress levels? That's where the mindset stuff comes in. Are you managing the thoughts that are going on in there? I'll give you some tools for that in the positive mindset portion of this. And and sleep. Those are like the four walls in the house. Are you most of the time eating a wide variety of whole foods in quantities that feel good for your body and let you do the things you want to do with your life? Are you sleeping, drinking water, moving your body, and managing your stress levels? Before worrying about any tiny details, make sure that those foundational pieces are there consistently. I didn't say perfectly. You don't need 100% score in every class in your grade to move up and to progress. We're aiming for a passing score. Aim for a 52% in all of those areas. So just keep dialing it up little by little. Focus on the big stuff. So that is number one. Don't get lost in the tiny details. Focus on the big things. I like to use that as a key because sometimes we can get overwhelmed. Say we're somewhere and the food quality side of things isn't in our control. Don't worry, you have all those other walls and roofs to focus on. You can manage being present, manage your stress levels, eat when you're satisfied instead of overstuffed. You can go get some gentle movement. You can make sure you get a good night's sleep. Focus on all the doors and the roof. And then you can play around with the window. Hopefully that storyline made sense. Okay, second, so first, focus on the things that make the biggest difference. Second, when you're trying to implement changes, focus on the first step first. And here's what I mean by that. Sometimes we sell ourselves short by going, it's just so easy. I just need to eat more veggies. And so we're like, why can't I do it? Why am I not eating more veggies? It's so simple. It's just this one difference. It's not. Let's look at it in reality. Eating more veggies, that's like step number 6 of the change. Step number 1 is thinking about what veggies you're going to go get, making time to go to the store and get them, wash them, chop them, prep them, decide on how you're going to eat them, and then eat them. So that's jumping from 0 to step 8. No wonder it feels overwhelming. So focus on the first step first. So say the change that you want to add in is eating more veggies. Let your first habit be on completing step number 1. First, I just got to get into the habit of going to the grocery store and writing a list of what I want. Like, that's even step 1 and 2. And it may feel funny or like, okay, each week I've set aside time to like write down my grocery list, but I haven't gone to get them. Just focus on step number 1. Once it becomes habit that you're starting to think and plan ahead about food, okay, boom. Now you've got step number 1. Now step number 2, plan in when you're going to go get groceries. But okay, now you got groceries in the house. Yes, there might be a couple weeks where you're like, shit, I wasn't prepared. I didn't chop them. I didn't wash them. So some of the groceries went bad. Just keep focused on moving forward. Now you have the habit of having that food available in the house. Now you can add on step number 3 of washing and chopping them. So just piece it together step by step. Focus on one step at a time. Say it's, I want to move my body more. Sounds simple, right? But it's actually a million different steps. If you want to start going to classes at a gym, step number 1 is call a gym. Let that be your one task for the week. Call a gym, find a place that sounds interesting to you. Next week, focus on sign up to a gym and have a consult. Week number, and it may sound like it's taking a long time, but I promise you that going step by step incrementally and then getting there is a lot faster than trying to jump to the 10th step and then falling down, jump and falling down. Over time, you're getting a lot faster. It may feel slower in the moment, but I promise you it is faster because you actually end up getting there. So break it down into pieces, one piece at a time. Step number 3. So those are how we're implementing the changes. Focus on the big stuff and do the first step first. One step at a time when you're building your habit. Then number 3 comes to, okay, what do we do when obstacles get in our way? Instead of like all or nothing, flipping the table, going, okay, because that can be overwhelming. When we have a problem or an obstacle that keeps throwing a wrench in our gears, chunk down that problem so you can actually find a solution. Often our brain will try to make sense of things, so it'll create a sweeping statement like, well, I do good all week and then I'm just off track on the weekends. That feels like a very overwhelming problem. Off track on the weekends, what does that even mean? Is the weekend from Thursday night to Sunday night? Oh my gosh, so then that's 4 days where it feels like you have to create all this change. Is it that every minute of every day you're sedentary and eating foods that make you feel like garbage? Like, chunk it down. What's the actual thing that's getting in your way? And once you chunk it down, you're like, okay, well, no, it's not Thursday to Sunday. It's kind of, oh, I guess Friday's all right. It's really just Saturday, Sunday. And so, okay, so chunk it down, break it down to Saturday. What is happening there? And then you may realize, okay, by Saturday, my fridge is empty of groceries. So then I don't have the breakfast I want. So then I end up getting too hungry. And then when I go get groceries, I'm already too hungry by that point. So I go to the drive-thru and I grab something, and then my cravings are all over the place because it was something that digested fast. So then when I'm grocery shopping, I end up picking up stuff that I don't like. So now we've chunked it down to, okay, the problem area is 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I let myself get too hungry. All right, we can find a solution to that. Next time you go do groceries, you grab a couple items that are freezer friendly or pantry friendly so that you can throw something together in the morning on Saturday with no risk of it going bad. And then you're full and satisfied and content, and you can continue on with your routine. So chunk down the problems into accurate little bite-sized problems so then your brain can find solutions for it. So that's number 3. So now let's move on to how can we come at this in a more loving and positive mindset. So we are a mind and a body. So we want to learn how to work with our mind. So what I find really, really helpful in this scenario is to recognize we are not our thoughts. Do not believe every single thing that your brain says. You are not your thoughts. You are the thing that observes them and chooses what to make of it and what to do with it. Your thoughts are your brain's best guess at the information bombarding it through all of your 5 senses and trying to link it up with past memories and feelings of your environment and pressures from society. So you are not your first thought. You are the thing that gets to choose what you make of that thought, whether you choose to accept it, whether you choose to hang on to it, what you choose to make it mean, and you're in charge of your second thought. So distance yourself from that first thought that says, oh, you don't deserve to do that, or you shouldn't do that because you don't fit into those jeans and blah, blah, blah. Recognize that you are not your thoughts, and thoughts are not facts. They're not facts and they're not commands. Create some distance. When you feel a thought, don't hang on to that as your identity. Recognize you are not your thoughts. Ask yourself, is this 100% without a doubt true? Put the BS detector on it. You are not your thoughts. As information's coming in, you get to decide what you choose to accept and what you choose to make it mean and what you choose to do about it. So, biggest thing for creating a healthier mindset, distance yourself from your thoughts. It can be useful information, but we need to distance ourselves and look at it, decide what we can take from that that's helpful. Because sometimes we got to own it and be like, shit, we made a bad call there. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Recognize the distance of those thoughts. Choose what to accept. Choose what to let go. Choose what to learn from. You are not your thoughts, and your thoughts are not facts. All right, now, when it comes to building some self-love, that can feel like a really big task, because if we're in a state of negativity, the jump to positivity can feel very far. And this is where my issue is with positive thinking. If we can't believe what we're saying, we don't identify with it, and then we don't manifest those things. Those are just thoughts that we're spewing out. So we need to figure out, how can we shift our thoughts so it's something we can believe in that moment. Say we're having a bad body image day, which happens to the best of us because we live in an environment with all these thoughts and ideas about bodies. So we get those thoughts in our heads, but we are not our thoughts, and thoughts are not facts. So if we're having a bad body image day, or we're in that, like, oh, I hate my body, I don't feel comfortable, it can be very hard to believe in the fact of just going like, okay, no, I love my body, I love my body. Like, if we're not feeling that, it can be really hard to get into the sense of believing that. So when the jump between negative and positive feels too far, there's a spot in the middle to hang on to jump to, which is accurate thinking. So anytime you're feeling stuck in the negative and the jump to positive feels a bit too far, come to accurate thinking. So let's use this bad body image day. You're going from I hate my body, I love my body, feels like it's not aligning with you. You're not in the space where you can make that jump that far. Go to accurate thinking and go, I have a body. I have a body. It allows me to do stuff. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable in it right now, but I respect that it is the vehicle that lets me do my life. So I am going to do what I can to look after it, because it looks after me every day, every minute of every day. So we can ditch the extreme emotions and just come to accurate thinking. I have a body. I have a body. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like today. I respect what it does for me, so I'm going to look after it and do something to take care of it today. So allow yourself to come to accurate thinking. Put your scientist, logical detective cap on and just come straight to the facts. And know that you're not your thoughts. You can go on and live a fulfilling day and life in spite of those thoughts. You get to choose what you make them mean. When it comes up, instead of beating yourself up about it, go, I'm having a thought. I'm having an experience. It's the human experience. I'm being human today. All right. But, don't let that stop you. You're in control of what you make things mean. It's a superpower once you realize that you get to choose what you make things mean. Like, we can spend all day going, I can't do this because I don't look this way, or I hate my body and I don't feel comfortable and I have no control over food. Or we literally have the superpower with nothing else in our life changing to go, I'm a badass bitch and I have good energy that I get to share to people, and my body is sexy and I get to do whatever I want. Like, nothing has to change in your life for you to shift the way you're thinking. Like, think when we watch a movie or it's a hockey game, nothing in our actual world changes, but our emotional state we can be scared, or we can be excited, or we can be happy or crying, and nothing in our actual life has changed. So know that you have everything you need within you to change the state of how you're feeling. So I would love to hear back from you of what you guys took from this, so I can provide more clarity, or we can open up some more discussions around things. But I appreciate you guys spending your time here to hang with me and listen to this. And I look forward to being a part of your journey the rest of the way, and we keep tackling those next steps. It's all worth it. Time's going to pass either way, so we can either let it pass as we create our future, or let it pass staying stagnant. So just keep moving, keep communicating, and you've got a community of people here with you, so don't be shy to reach out and chat, ask questions, and just you get to choose what you make today mean. So you could make today mean that this is when things start changing. Literally, that's in your power. So I hope you decide to do that today. So thanks for hanging out, and I hope you have a lovely day.